So another update. So we were talking about the our bright senator suggesting for resumption of face-to-face classes because of the ineffectiveness of the distance learning. Well, there's a purpose for the distance learning in the first place, right? Because of the pandemic that is happening today. So obviously, in order to avoid contracting or spreading the virus, they implemented the implementation of distance learning is required, is important. Now, based on their recommendation, they're now CHED has now recommended to the president to implement the face-to-face classes as a pilot in low-risk areas. Now, whether that's the right decision or not, well, we still have to wait and see here. Anyway, so according to the article here in Rappler.com, so the president, Mr. Duterte, has already approved for it. So this will take place early next year for low risk area, which is somewhat concerning here, if I were to be honest here. So the Department of Education or DepEd stated that the pilot implementation or dry run of face-to-face classes in select schools within areas of low COVID risk for the whole month of January. Now, I like the idea of having a pilot test, but wouldn't it be better if we were to prepare for it for the next school year rather than in the middle of a school year trying testing things if it would work or not? And obviously testing it in low risk areas won't make much sense because the pilot test should be implemented in high risk area. If you cannot implement it in high risk area, you're just only opening some schools are not allowed to operate, then why not just defer for it until shouldn't it be the goal that if it's for next year, for example, that why not prepare for the next coming school year? So you have the entire months, weeks, and months to prepare. Let's say for the next school year, let's say come January, not January, come June, we have 6 months here. So what are the required steps so that we can ensure that when students go back to school, it's not just the school that has to be a safe environment, but going to your from your house to the school. The travel time from your house to the school is the critical part. It's not just the school, right? So meaning the facilities, meaning the transportation system, people around you are aware, students, teenagers, kids are aware of the severity of the situation so that proper protocols, maybe some marketing for children that they should be wearing masks at all times. What are the proper protocols? The government could do some public service announcement and so forth, so that they have ample preparation. It's not just we want everyone to be safe, right? Obviously, for the adults, we're all can decide for ourselves and we know what to do, what is necessary. But for kids, just imagine kids running around, playing, forget to wearing masks, and if they were to catch the virus, which hopefully that doesn't happen, that's a worst case scenario that we don't want it to happen here. And as mentioned, they mentioned that the pilots shall be done under strict and health safety protocol or measures. Okay, but there's always a limit, right? Question is, will the children follow it? It's one thing to implement it for the faculties, for the admins to do that. But how about for the children? The children is the key part here. If the kids don't follow what is stated here, then everything is smooth, right? So the commitment here is the responsibility for the DepEd, the local government, and the parents. But how can you task the parents here? The parents are working. So asking them to do more, if you can't ensure, the surrounding area where the children goes to or travel to, it's a difficult endeavor. So the question here is the face-to-face classes will be only voluntary, which is great news on the part of the learner or the parents here. Where I think, on the safety standpoint, I think face-to-face will not be ideal for the foreseeable future, maybe until next school year, right? Until we can guarantee 100% that the safety of the children or the students who are going to schools are protected here. Now, obviously, the senators mentioned that they're urging the government to resume because they're not learning. Yeah, that's the downside of distance learning because we're not ready, capable. So that's something they can look forward to in the future. But as of the moment, actually, a student group, namely the Samahan ng Progresibong Kabataan or SPARK, warned that resuming face-to-face classes in the middle of the pandemic is dangerous, right? I won't say dangerous, but we want to contain it. And maybe resuming the face-to-face classes can increase the risk. So obviously we have to ensure that the infrastructure, as I mentioned, the marketing, ensuring that the kids understand the given situation here, so that you can minimize rather than exacerbate the situation. And obviously the testing, right? If we can even test the students here, who's going to shoulder it? The government. We already have limited budget for our operations here for the entire country. So meaning, can we afford to test every student here who gets sick here? Will the government foot the bill? Will the senators foot the bill if that were the case here? Right? Will you use your own pocket money here? Anyway, and according to the Department of Health, they stated that it supports the face-to-face classes in low-risk areas as where the pandemic is under control. Yeah, that's easy enough if it's controlled. But how about in the high-risk area? How are you going to mitigate that? Right? Again, it's unfair, right? You're going to test on an easy scenario. You have to test it on a more difficult area so that you can, easily implement it in lesser risk areas here. So it's a big daunting task. Hopefully, they'll make the right decisions and make it ensure that the safety of the children are at the top of their minds here.